You know how it is when you're looking at data. A lot of the time, you get a simple answer, right? A yes, it worked, or a nope, it didn't. But that's really only half the story. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a tool that shows you not just if your result is real, but how much it actually matters. So imagine this. You just ran a huge marketing campaign. The data comes back, the numbers look good, and you get that beautiful, statistically significant result, success. But then your boss walks over and asks the real question. That's great, but how much of a success was it? Answering that question, well, that's everything. Let's say you offered a special weekend discount. It's pretty obvious from the chart that weekend sales shot up. And a p-value? It would confirm this wasn't just some random fluke. But that big question mark hanging over the difference, that represents the size of your win, and that's the number we really need to nail down. And that brings us to our first big idea here. We have to move past that simple, yes, it worked mindset. P-values are fantastic at their one job, telling us if a result is probably real. But their job stops right there. They just don't give us the full picture we need to make really smart business decisions. The best way to think of a p-value is like a smoke alarm. It's great at screaming, hey, there's probably a fire. It tells you that your result is real and not just random chance. But it can't tell you if it's a tiny fire in a wastebasket or if the entire building is about to go up in smoke. It confirms the if, but it leaves out the how much. So, how do we measure the size of that fire? Well, for that, we need to add another tool to our data toolkit. It's called the confidence interval, and it's built to provide the exact context that we've been missing. Okay, so what is a confidence interval? Instead of giving you one single precise number, it gives you a plausible range. It basically says, look, based on the data we have, the true real-world answer is very likely somewhere in here. It's just a much more honest way of looking at reality. A really fantastic way to picture a confidence interval is as a measuring tape for your data, right? It doesn't just give you a single point. It gives you a range of reasonable measurements, showing you the scale of what you're looking at. I mean, your data gives you a single best guess, an estimate. But the true effect out there in the world? It might be a little higher, maybe a little lower. The confidence interval just maps out that whole probable territory for you. It's that simple. All right, enough theory. Let's make this real. We're going to go back to that weekend sales discount and see exactly how this tool works in the wild. So, you crunch the numbers from your weekend test, and boom! You find that the discount led to an average sales lift of 12%. That is your single best estimate from the data you collected. It's a great start. But here's the multi-million-dollar question. If you could run this discount every weekend for the next 5 years, would that average lift be exactly 12,000%? Almost no chance, right? Your one test was just a snapshot. It wasn't the whole movie. And this is exactly where the confidence interval comes in to save the day. Instead of just reporting that one number, that 12%, you also calculate the confidence interval. And it might tell you that the plausible range is actually from 8% to 16%. See the difference? We've gone from a single point to a much more useful, honest range. Now, this is usually called a 95% confidence interval. And all that really means is that we are 95% confident that the true long-term impact of our discount is somewhere inside that range we found, somewhere between 8% and 16%. So what does this range tell us? Well, a couple of huge things. First, the entire range from 8% all the way up to 16% is positive. It's all above zero. So that tells us there's a real positive effect here. It confirms what our p-values suspected. But just as important, it gives us a sense of precision. A tight range like this is super useful. If the range was, say, from 1% to 23%, that would tell us our estimate is a lot shakier. Now, let's be super clear. This is not about throwing out the p-value. Not at all. It's about giving it the perfect partner. They're two different tools that when you use them together, give you a much richer, more complete story from your data. Let's just break it down. Your p-value is the detective. Its only job is to answer, is there an effect here at all? It just detects significance. The confidence interval, on the other hand, is the appraiser. Its job is to step in and answer, okay, how big is that effect? It measures the impact and tells you how certain you can be. Look, when you present both, you're not just showing that you found something. You're showing what you found, how big you think it is, and how confident you are in that finding. It just makes your analysis so much more robust and trustworthy. So let's bring this all home. How does knowing this actually help you and your team make smarter, more data-backed decisions out there in the real world? If you only remember one single thing from our time together, please let it be this. Confidence intervals give your data context. That's their superpower. They turn a single lonely number into a meaningful story about potential outcomes. Here's a simple 3-step playbook you can use every time. Step 1. Use a p-value to see if anything significant even happened. Step 2. Immediately follow up with a confidence interval to measure the size and certainty of that impact. And then, step 3, use that complete picture to make a truly confident decision. Because that's the whole point, isn't it? When you can walk into a meeting and tell your stakeholders, hey, the discount definitely worked, and we're 95% confident it's going to increase our sales somewhere between 8 and 16%, you are giving them exactly what they need to make a smart call on what to do next. So, the next time you get a significant result from your data, I want you to stop and ask yourself, your data is talking, for sure, but are you really hearing the whole story?